Okay, now we're going to take a look at our ARK monthly totals. You'll see that description right here in this label on the menu item. Let's go ahead and select that. The first thing that's going to come up is a query screen. In here, you'll see a list of months because we're looking at things by month, right? So we're going to take the most current one, which is 2023-01, and select that. I'm going to bring that over to this box over here. The reason why it moves from this box to there is you may want to select multiple months. It can be kind of cumbersome because this is going to bring up multiple pop-ups with each entry. So here we're going to just stick with the 1 month to make it easy for explanation. Down here, there's a button that says Show the monthly buy-sell totals. Let's go ahead and select that. And again, as I mentioned, it's going to bring up 2 pop-ups. One is going to be red, which is associated with all of the sell transactions that occurred in the month in question. If I slide this pop-up down, you'll see there's another one right behind it. For the same month, all of the total shares that are transacted as a buy for that given month. What I like to do is take a look at the sells first. And the reason for that is I'd like to know what the total amount that they've sold and received cash for, because I'm assuming we're going to compare that to what they bought. So here they've sold $774 million worth of shares in the month of January. January's not over yet, so this is what they've done so far this month. Looking at each of these columns, there's one, it's totaled by shares, totals by fund, and totals by symbol. So this takes a look, this first column here, the totals by shares, takes a look at the total number of shares for each stock. You're going to take a look at the total number of shares in this column that were sold. Here's each of them, each of the symbols that are involved in this list. It all adds up to the 774 million. There were 14 million shares, 14.7 million shares that were actually sold of all of these. Now let's take a look at the breakdown by fund. Same shares and which funds they belong to. So in the case of ARK F fund, they had sold 1.1 million of the existing shares in that fund for a total of 58.9 million. And so forth with ARK G, they sold 190 million, 6.4 million shares, ARK K and ARK Q respectively. That all foots and adds up to 774 million. Now, what about by symbol, across funds? Here we have a look at each of the symbols that were sold. So in other words, you may have a stock, Tesla, that appears in multiple funds. I want to know how much of their Tesla did they actually sell. When there's only one stock that's been sold in one fund, it's not very meaningful. But when you take a look at it here, when you see this fund here, EXAS, it's been sold from the ARK K fund and the ARK G fund. So here's the total number of shares of EXAS they've sold, and here's the money they've received for that. It gets more interesting when they have a stock that crosses multiple funds. So again, you can always compare the bottom line numbers so you know you're working with the same information. Let's go ahead and close that now. And now I'm taking a look at what they bought. So they sold shares equaling 774 million, but look, they bought shares totaling 1.3 million. So they have money coming in from the outside in order to do that, or money that they've kept available to do that. And going from month to month, you can always do these comparisons. Again, same structure, totals by shares, total by fund, total by symbol, level broke by fund, and you will see exactly the transactions they've been buying. So I like to look at this. We already know from some of our other screens, we were following their DNA, which they purchased a lot of. So I take a look over here and I can see the total by symbol. Let's take a look at DNA for the month. We know that in the month of January so far, they've bought 1.1 million shares of DNA, and they put that in their ARK G fund. We also know that they've bought a lot of coin, and they've crossed that across multiple funds. So the coin, which represents cryptocurrency, that the cryptocurrency management fund, this is $27.4 million worth, or 333 thousand shares. So this is very interesting information to see what they're doing, what funds they're trying to move ahead with, what they're selling out of. Looks like they're buying a lot into ARKG and into ARK right now. So that's what's happening in the month of January, and it's not over yet. We go ahead and close this, and we can also close our query screen, and it brings us right back to the main screen that we started from.